Hello, fellow players of Hero Wars. I'm Jay. Welcome to Jay vs. Hero Wars. Today I'll be talking about Ascension, as well as everything that you would want to know about Asgard that we know so far. So without further ado, let's check it out. Alright guys, so here we are. We're talking about Asgard, and you can see that once you hit Guild, right, you will be seeing Asgard on the left side of your screen. So that is what we're looking at initially when we're looking at this new game mode. And once you hit that game mode Asgard, right, so once you hit Asgard, you should see something that looks like this. We'll see in the left-hand corner you have the Guild Raid option, which is where essentially all the battling will be taking place weekly. So Monday through Thursday, you face the minions. Then you face the bosses Friday through Sunday. It's a week-long event. We also have the Great Tree of Wisdom, which is clearly this tree that is right behind and dead center in Asgard. We have the Astral Seer, which is this almost monument-like structure right here. We have a person with 4 arms. We also have the Hall of Fame. Then there's also the Astral or Ascension Spire, excuse me. So we got 5 new things coming in right there. So let's talk first about the Guild Raid. Now, Guild Raid, once you click on it, you'll see something that looks kind of like this. It's Cradle of Stars, and this is the first couple of days before the boss fights. So here you can see there's a bunch of different red skulls here, indicating that that's how many teams are going to be in these locations. So for example, you'll have 1 enemy team here, 2 enemy teams here, so on and so forth. That gives you an indication of how many times potentially you might need to fight. There is going to be a difference in levels. So there's a level 65 through 150 if I saw things correctly on the stream that Hero Wars had. And basically your guild gets to decide the strength of the opponents. The stronger the opponents, the better the rewards, but also the tougher the matchups. So those are things to keep in mind. And my understanding is you do need to have faced the lower level opponents before you can move on to higher level opponents, similar to pet adventures, right? So you can't get to the 3rd or 4th pet adventure without having beaten the prior ones. So that's kind of what we're looking at here in the Cradle of Stars and Guild Raid area. Now, here we have the Great Tree of Wisdom. It used to be known as the Great Tree of Ascension. They've since changed that, as we were informed on the stream. But here, right, each role can be increased in strength. So we have Tank Role. So this is all your tanks, frontline heroes that can get bonus stats. Looks like we have Warrior here. So this would be like Kark and Yasmin. This looks like Marksman. So my guess would be something like, I don't know, like Dante maybe, or like Artemis, something like that. And then we got like a book here. So I'm going to go with, that's probably mages, maybe like the twins. Here we got healers, I think. So that would probably be like Martha, Celeste, something like that. So the tree allows for an increase in stats, really similar, in my opinion, to glyphs, where you have up to level 50. So something to keep in mind there. So this is for all your heroes and all your roles. The next part of this game mode we have to talk about is the Astral Seer, who basically gives us an opportunity to have upgrades and items, really. So you get rewards and you get free upgrades. I think you get up to 7, so basically it comes down to 1 per day, but you can, I think, roll them all at once, which I think might be advantageous depending on how this event plays out, because then you don't have to worry about going back for rewards every single day. Plus, if they're all boosts, you can use them all at the same time and have that boost advantage right from the start of Ascension. So, or the Guild Raid, however you want to phrase it. But yes, so that is something that's going on with the Astral Seer, which is this guy right here in the middle. Of course, the Hall of Fame, pretty straightforward. They just kind of tell you if you are either a top guild, a top player, or an all-time top performer, because basically what they're going to do is they're going to have this event spread out. It's not going to be every single week, I don't think, is basically what they told us. But they'll keep track of who had the highest score, and it sounds like they'll just kind of memorialize that. So that's what's going on there. Here we have the Ascension Spire. Now, Ascension Spire has 5 levels. So you can see it's for each hero has this Ascension option, but you can see there's 5 different levels. So this is level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And at level 2, the second skill Ascension is unlocked. And at rank 5, the 4th level skill, I believe, is also unlocked. And we already know the first 7 heroes who are going to be getting this, as well as what the skills are. So let's take a quick look at that. So here we have the Ascension skills. We've got Thea, right? So at rank 2, as I showed you earlier. So this is the old skill. So Thea heals an ally with the lowest health. Now, with the Ascension upgrade, after Thea uses Healing Beam, the allied target takes less damage for 5 seconds. So in addition to getting health, they are now sustaining less damage as a result. We also have the Ascension rank 5, where Thea heals all members of the team. All healing by Solar Sanctuary that exceeds the ally's max health is converted into a shield that absorbs any damage. Now this is very cool. Remnant of Avalon, right, who's a Titan. So the Earth Titan Avalon is able to basically cast a shield, and that shield eats some damage. So this basically allows Thea to almost overheal a hero and give them an extra health bonus. So this would be something that's very cool and could be something to think about if used correctly with Lilith potentially. If Lilith is able to maybe get a little bit more of an offense. But I don't know, it has some potential. I like this skill of Thea, especially the 5th one. We have Nebula's Ascension skills, and here we have Nebula Ascension rank 2. Nebula restores health of 2 nearby allies and removes negative effects from them. Nebula can benefit from the skill if there's only 1 ally left. Now in the upgrade, if an ally gains a negative effect within 4 seconds right after this effect is triggered, Nebula will cancel the negative effect and heal this ally. Now that's really cool, but it also freaks me out because this now makes Nebula more susceptible to a hero like Celeste. So it will cancel the negative effect, right? When we're talking about, maybe like a stat down kind of a deal, but it doesn't say anything about healing turning into damage. So I believe that this does not protect from Celeste's ability to turn health and healing into damage. So this really it's cool, but it could be a double-edged sword. So be very careful once things move forward. Now the 4th skill based on the Ascension rank, right? Astral Projection. Nebula launches a slowly flying projectile activation dealing damage and disperses the energy of enemies in the area of effect. The total damage and the dispersed energy are split between the enemies evenly. Now, the upgraded version has it triggering astral projection, granting the balance effect to 2 allies, boosting their physical attack and magic attack for 5 seconds. Now, that's cool, but it's 2 allies for 5 seconds. So it's nice. It's like an extra buff. My honest opinion is that this one doesn't really mean as much for users of Nebula. Granted, physical attack and magic attack being upgraded is significant. I think that the bigger skill to keep an eye on here is going to be the Serenity, which is actually the 2nd Ascension rank of Nebula. Not to say that this 5th one isn't cool, I just think the 2nd one could have more of an impact on Nebula's use. Next we have Kai. He has this explosive sphere, throws a sphere at the enemy, deals damage over 3 seconds, and explodes, damaging nearby enemies. After an explosive sphere detonates, a lesser explosive sphere is attached to an enemy, and deals pure damage for 8 seconds, then deals magic damage on explosion. So this is interesting in that it just deals more damage, which is cool. Although I will say, again, one of my concerns is the speed at which Kai attacks. Kai is more of a backline attacker. But I think this could be very useful in campaign now, making Kai a much more useful hero than he was prior. We also have the 5th Ascension rank, Fetters of the Wind. Kai launches a whirlwind that throws every target into the air and deals damage. Whirlwind multiplies the damage area of all explosive spheres and activates them. So this is cool in that in the fact that they work together. They're very synergetic with one another, making Kai a little bit more interesting to use and potentially more viable. I don't know how I feel about the fact that I believe he's still magic attack damage, which limits his use with a Kark-related team, which was really one of the main purposes of Kai and his synergy. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how this rework, essentially, of some of his skills allows him to play in the new metaverse. So we have Darkstar, one of the heroes I'm excited about to see, if I'm being honest, with these changes. Darkstar used to be able to force the nearest target to fight on the caster side for 4 seconds. An enemy affected will go into Berserk state, meaning that they lose health every second and get a boost of their physical attack as well as their speed by 100%. So this is interesting because I don't know how it'll play against magic attackers, right? It doesn't say anything about magic attack, only physical attack. But it does also increase an opponent's speed, which means not only are they hitting opponents harder, they're also losing health themselves, making this skill very, very dangerous if Darkstar is an opponent. We have black arrows here. Darkstar shoots 2 arrows at distant targets, damaging and stunning them for 3 seconds. If Darkstar has an enemy affected by the control skill when using black arrows, she releases an extra arrow and prolongs the control duration for 10 seconds. Now this is very, very dangerous. You do not want to be under control when this black arrow's effect goes off. For me, this makes Darkstar a hero to watch when Ascension drops something very, very spooky, which is great for this particular time of the year. But I definitely am intrigued by Darkstar's Ascension skills, and this to me makes her one of the top heroes to watch once Ascension hits. Now we have Cleaver. Cleaver deals pure damage to the nearest enemies and himself for 5 seconds. Hero pulled by Rusty Hook takes 200% more damage from putrefaction for 20 seconds. 20 seconds, a lot of time. So you better hope that you are not pulled by Cleaver's Rusty Hook unless you're using Dorian and you're trying to counter with that particular option. Let's take a look here. Rusty Hook. Cleaver throws a hook at distant enemy, pulling them to himself. The hero pulled by Rusty Hook pushes away their allies and damages them. Ooh, that is not good. This is going to limit Dorian's usability or usefulness occasionally, depending on who your heroes are, especially if they stay kind of more in the back line. This will really limit your viability of using Dorian as a counter to Cleaver. So it kind of limits some of your ability, and Cleaver basically is kind of a little bit more of a threat now. Granted, if you have someone in Galahad, maybe Dorian's still a great option because now Galahad is able to get more vampirism. So just some thoughts there. Cleaver will be doing more damage to your Marthas if he hooks them with the Rusty Hook, and will be dealing more damage with this Toxic Putrefaction skill. Ching Mao reduces target's armor with every attack. Effect lasts until the end of the battle or the target's death. Open Heart additionally decreases target's max health by 100% of damage dealt with the basic attack. That's not good. If you're facing a Ching Mao, that is not good at all. Ching Mao cannot decrease target's max health by over 40%. So it's good that they capped it, but I think that's still going to be pretty significant. It can almost take out more than a third of your health. So that's a big deal there. Ching Mao summons a dragon spirit that hits the nearest enemies 3 times, burning them for 5 seconds, punching them back, and damaging them. When Ching Mao uses the Qinglong skill, the dragon spirit deals 1 extra hit to its targets for each blinded enemy on the battlefield, max 5 hits. So it sounds like this is going to be a hero that you're going to be wanting to use potentially Fenris with, because Fenris is able to blind enemies, right? That's a pet, Fenris. But that just means that Ching Mao really has some scary potential. I think this is the #1 hero to watch in Ascension. I think a close second being Darkstar, as well as Nebula. Nebula's on that watch list, but I think unfortunately, potentially for the bad reason that Celeste might now become a lot more effective against Nebula, even with that nullification of negative status effects. I don't know if Celeste's dark abilities really fall into that negatable category. Finally, we have Artemis here. Artemis fires an arrow at the nearest target that deals damage and bounces to random enemies several times. The smart arrow bounces 2 more times, then returns to Artemis, healing her by 33% of the damage dealt. That's kind of cool for Artemis. I definitely think that healing is something that she was lacking anyway, in terms of being able to restore some of her health. Artemis launches a barrage of shoots, striking enemies with a rain of arrows. Each time when Artemis uses Deadly Shower, she fires 7 more arrows. More arrows equals more damage. I like this. I like this for Artemis. I'm excited to see if this puts her at par with Ginger or if she's still behind. It's going to be a really interesting time to see how Artemis is impacted. I think she's one of the heroes who needed a rework very badly. So I think this is much, much needed. But that is kind of what we're looking at when we're looking at Asgard and some potential improvements on heroes. These are the first 7 that have Ascension skills that are going to be available. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be an exciting time. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, check out our membership, and I look forward to seeing you guys all in Dominion.